Hey guys, Akil Stokes here. Welcome back to the Trading Coach Podcast. Today we're going to talk about continued education, improving and evolving your trading strategy and dealing with self-doubt. So we got a bunch of cool stuff to talk about today, all crammed into the same pot. But before we get into it, today is another video episode, so make sure you head over to Spotify or YouTube if you want to see the video version of this. Got a comment the other day that said, "No offense, Akil, but I didn't know you were black." Just more proof that if you watch the video version, you will find out something new, something that you never knew existed before now. So head over and look. The light just went out outside, so I hope the shading is still good here, but we'll make it work somehow. Just might be a little bit of a dark one. Anyway, summer is one of my favorite times of the year because my schedule clears up, right? Kids are away at camp. I'm not coaching track actively, so a massive amount of time opens up, which I could do one of two things with. One, I can be lazy, fall asleep, maybe watch the Euros all day. Never do that. Or it gives me more time to work on myself and my trading, my continued education, which is something that I don't get a lot of time to do because most of my free time is spent helping the traders on the tier one platform deal with their problems and pushing mine aside. So it's always good to have that extra time. And I read this cool quote the other day. I do this for both trading, I do this for both coaching track and field as well. And this was a track and field quote, but I read this cool quote the other day that said, "Great coaching, like scientific discovery, is built on experimentation. We test, we tweak, we analyze, always searching for that optimal formula." And what is something I tell you guys all the time, right? The best way to become better at trading is to spend time on the chart. Now, it's not just spending time on a chart and having a chart open and being like, did my job, right? No, you actually have to spend purposeful time on the chart. Now, purposeful time on the chart could be working on something in a training course. It could be back testing. It could be strategy development, or it could just be playing in the sandbox, as I like to call it, where you're just scrolling through random charts on random time frames, just making observations. And you do that over and over and over and over again. You start to get better. You start to see things that you didn't see before, and your eyes become a lot better at analyzing what you're supposed to analyze in the market. And this is key because the markets are always changing. If there was one thing that I thought when I first started trading, it was that the markets would be the same forever, right? I developed a strategy, I tested that strategy, and then I told myself once all of that hard work was done, I was good to go, right? Everything would work exactly the same forever in time. And what I learned, I don't want to say the hard way, but the interesting way, I guess you could say, is that market conditions do change, right? The way the markets are trading now is different than when they were trading 4 years ago. The way the markets were trading 4 years ago are different than they were trading in the early 2000s, like 2009 to 2012 type of period. And if you're not equipped, I guess, skilled enough to make adjustments, you run the risk of failing as a trader. This is one of the reasons that we always say you don't want to, you don't want to do a trade copy service, but you don't just want to be a person that picks up a strategy and trades it. Meaning, like, you find something on the internet, you don't know any rhyme or reason for how it works, but you just find a rule, and it's like moving average cross buy. You just pick up and try to do it, right? Because although you have a strategy that may work, you don't actually know why the strategy works. And again, for the longest time, I was taught that it doesn't matter how, why the strategy works as long as you know that it works. And that's true to a certain extent, but one of the benefits of knowing why the strategy works, how the strategy works, what the strategy is made up of, how it was developed, is that it allows you to go into that strategy and make the adjustments when you need to make them. So if you have trader A over here, trader B over here, trader A knows the strategy inside and out. They developed it. They understand how it works, why it works, all that fun stuff. Trader B just picks it up and trades it. When market conditions do change and maybe that strategy isn't working the same way that you expected it to work, Trader A knows what to look for. They can look at the strategy. They can analyze the strategy. They can understand, okay, this isn't working the way I expect it to work because of this. Entries are too conservative, targets are too far away, stops are too close, whatever it may be. Trader B, if you don't have that skill, you're SOL, you're out of luck, right? Want to keep it clean, that way I don't have to put a little E thing on here for the podcast thing, right? You're out of luck and you're kind of stuck because you don't know what to do. Now, I'm not saying you can do this backwards. You can always find a strategy, trade it, and understand why it works later. But let's be honest, right? Most traders out there, they aren't doing that. They're like, you know what, Akil? It works. Who cares? Plug and play. Just do it. And remember, with trading, we're playing the long game. So we're not trading for something that's going to work for a month or a year. We're looking to have something that works pretty much the same way for the foreseeable future. And having the skill and being able to make those adjustments is key in allowing that to happen. Another thing I was thinking about the other day was this too, right? Self-doubt, right? We had an underwhelming track and field season this year. Let's put it like this, right? So 2 years ago, we won a championship, and now we're spoiled, right? Told you all the time, winners win. Anything less than a championship is a disappointment. I shouldn't say that, right? Anything less than kind of being in the discussion for a championship and outperforming our ranking. That's our ultimate goal, is a disappointment. And this year, although we finished third place, it was a poor third place, right? We scored less points than we were supposed to. And what happens is, all coaches do this, just like traders, is we look at this and we're saying, okay, the result didn't match what we expected it. Who do we blame? Us, right? The first question we ask is, what did I do wrong? And when you start thinking, what did I do wrong? You start thinking about your training philosophy. You start thinking about your workouts, your this, your that. And the temptation is to rip everything up and start anew. In trading, we see the same thing with what? Drawdowns, right? Your strategy could be working great for a year, but you get one rough month, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, it doesn't work. Akil just said market changes. I don't know what to do. I got to throw everything away and rip it up, and boom, right? We all have this temptation. I feel very confident in saying that we've all been through that at one point or another, because drawdowns are horrible, especially your first one when you don't understand what's happening. I put it like this, right? A drawdown at first, your first drawdown, is imagine you jumping into a pool and you don't know where the bottom of the pool is at. So you're jumping, you're sinking, and you just keep going lower and lower. And people have told you that the bottom is there, but you don't quite believe it, right? So the longer it takes for you to touch the bottom and feel the bottom with your feet, you start panicking and going all crazy, and bad stuff happens, right? Eventually, when that drawdown ends, if you're able to turn it around, unfortunately some traders are never able to turn a drawdown around, you find that bottom, you jump up off of it, and the next time you have more confidence. Like, yeah, it sucks that I'm sinking down, but I have confidence that there is a bottom there and that I will be able to push myself up, right? And the key, and it goes back to the quote about the tweaking and experimentation, is that, you know, we don't want to settle. If things didn't work the way that we thought it would, whether it be our coaching strategy or our trading strategy, we don't want to just all of a sudden do something, just let it be. And be like, you know what, it'll get back to normal, right? Sometimes it will, but sometimes it won't. And it's okay to test. It's okay to tweak. It's okay to analyze. It's okay to, what was the other one I said? Experiment with different things, right? Because that's how we evolve. The key is we need to do all those things with the same foundational principles. And this is why the foundation is so important. Because, at least in my experience in the market and with coaching, right, coaching track and field, no matter what type of tweaks I make or changes I make, they're all based off of the same foundational principles. They are scientific foundational principles that do not change. So in track and field, for example, it's the my philosophy on speed and power development, right? You need to do acceleration, you need to do max speed, you need to do speed endurance, right? Those are the three core workouts that you need to do to get faster. How you do those workouts and where you program them, that could be different, that could be tweaked, that's where you can try different things, but at the end of the day, those three workouts need to be done. In trading, it's support and resistance. For me, structure is my backbone of my philosophy, right? It means everything, right? Price is pulled towards levels of structure, whether it's resistance or support, and then we wait to see if it's broken or closed, and if we violate it, then we're expected to bounce off of it and go to the next one, right? And those are the baseline of how I view the markets and how I look for trading opportunities. Now, the differences that you can make, the tweaks and the tests and the analyzations, right? Analysis, start over. The changes that I can make are based off of what I do at those areas, right? So maybe my philosophy still says that, okay, my core philosophy says that price action is supposed to go to structure. Okay, well, Akil, what do I do when price action gets to structure? Let's say in the beginning I was very conservative, and this is how I actually was. Well, when price action got to structure, I had to have the RSI overbought. I had to have a double bottom. I had to have RSI divergence. I had to have all three of those things before I can ever take a trade. Well, lo and behold, what if I'm observing in the market that price is getting to these levels, dupe, and then bouncing right off, right? Not doing any of the stuff I mentioned, but bouncing straight down. Well, my results are going to be hurt because I'm not getting trading opportunities. So I'm scratching my head like, man, how come, I was getting 20 trades a month, now I'm only getting 10, what's going on? And I can start to think that it's not working, but that's not the answer. The fact of the matter is the core principles have still stayed the same, right? Price action went to structure, it bounced off of structure. Price action went to structure, it retested structure, it extended off of structure. That has stayed the same. The difference is the small ways that price action has adapted. Maybe instead of giving me those conservative opportunities like a double top, maybe it's only giving me a 3-bar reversal. Maybe it's only giving me tweezer tops. Maybe it's only giving me, insert the blank right there, right? Maybe it just changed the way that it reacted at those levels because of newer market conditions. Well, for me as a trader, I need to be able to analyze that and go in and say, okay, well, I need to get more aggressive. I can't wait. I can no longer afford to wait for a test, a retracement, and a retest. I need to get involved in that V, that first level where it bounces off. And then I go and I test and I discover what's the optimal way to do that, right? Can you see how I'm evolving my strategy and myself as a trader, but I'm not really touching the core principles, just everything around it, right? And that's what we need to do as traders if we want to keep up with the markets and not get left behind. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Share, like, rate, review, all that fun stuff. Do me a favor, in the comment section below, what are some stuff that you do for continued education? How do you continue to see if your strategy is working the same? What adjustments do you make? What are things that you look for? Anything that is relevant to this topic, write it down below. That way our listeners and our followers can read it and get some more ideas, especially the newer ones. All right, hope you enjoyed the podcast. Until next time, plan your trade your plan. Take care.